What if sharing your personal life is actually destroying it? In a world obsessed with oversharing, love has become performance, and pain is turned into content. Keanu Reeves lives differently, quiet, private, intentional. And there's a powerful reason why. This video reveals 3 things smart people never expose to the public. Because one wrong post can ruin your relationship, kill your motivation, or hand your peace over to strangers. By the end, you'll discover why silence isn't weakness, it's power. Stick around, because this might just change the way you protect the most important parts of your life forever. There's one thing the wise always keep to themselves: the deepest wounds they're still healing from. Life isn't always gentle. We all carry scars, quiet aches in the heart from losing loved ones, bitter failures, and psychological shocks that leave behind invisible, long-lasting marks. In those fragile moments, it's only natural to crave a shoulder to lean on, a kind word, someone who understands. But ironically, it's when we're most vulnerable that we must be most cautious. Because sharing too soon can sometimes drag us deeper into the very pain we're trying to escape. Not everyone has the heart to truly listen. Unsolicited advice may come, words meant to help, but instead, they make us feel small and weak. Some may exploit our story just to feed their curiosity, or worse, turn our pain into a joke, leaving us ashamed right in the middle of our own suffering. In the act of retelling that pain, whether through words or social media, is like reopening a wound that hasn't had time to heal. We think we're releasing the burden, but in truth, we're reliving every negative emotion, every painful second. The more we speak of it, the deeper it cuts. The deeper it cuts, the harder it is to heal. Those who are truly wise choose to walk through pain in a safe space. Maybe it's a quiet room with a therapist, or simply the embrace of a sincere friend. Some choose silence, reflecting alone, writing in a private journal instead of pouring it all out online. They understand. Not everyone deserves access to the most broken corners of their heart. They take time, gently working through each emotion, each memory, each broken piece with care and clarity. They don't rush. They don't need to prove anything. They quietly do the work within themselves until one day, when the wound no longer bleeds, when the pain has turned into strength, they step into the light. And if they choose to tell their story, it is no longer a cry for help, but a testimony of triumph. That's when sharing transforms, not as a sign of weakness, but as a source of power. When we speak from a place of healing, others feel hope. But when we speak from a place of fresh pain, others only see the wound, and sometimes they get pulled into it too. In an age where emotions can be shared with a single click, we forget that not everything is meant to be exposed. Social media is not therapy. The crowd is not your soul's doctor. Your story, if it lands in the wrong ears, becomes a weight, not a release. So learn to be selective, not just in who you tell, but in when you choose to tell it. Maybe right now, you're wrestling with loneliness, with failure, with silent cracks in your soul that no one sees. And you're aching to scream, aching for someone to hold you and say, "I understand you." But be patient. Let yourself be the first to understand you, to heal you. Because no one can walk with you 24/7 except you. Wisdom isn't the absence of pain. It's knowing where it hurts and how to hurt in a way that heals. The wise don't let pain turn them into victims. They don't use pain as a pass for pity. They use it as a lesson to quietly grow. They know that silence, in certain moments, is strength. Not because they're afraid to speak, but because they know what space is worthy of their vulnerability. And when they finally choose to share, if they do, it's a gift, not a burden. They tell their story not for sympathy, but to inspire. Their scar becomes proof of resilience, not a relic of ruin. So if today you carry a silent pain in your heart, don't rush to expose it in the town square. Keep it like a seed, buried deep, nourished by tears and patience. One day, when you're strong enough, that seed will bloom into a flower, not just beautiful for you, but a light for others too. Don't let someone else's words dim your healing journey. Protect your soul like a flame in a storm, faint but unyielding. And when that flame is strong enough, you'll know when it's time to warm others with your story. Keeping your pain to yourself while you're still healing isn't weakness. It's a noble act of self-respect, of maturity, of a heart that knows how to love itself before it dares to love the world. There's one thing all truly successful people quietly keep to themselves: their biggest goals, until they become reality. Because dreams, no matter how grand, when exposed too early, can be easily extinguished by the winds of doubt from the outside world. Psychological studies have shown that when you speak your goals out loud too soon, your brain gets a false sense of accomplishment, as if part of the work is already done. That illusion can steal the very motivation you need to act. It sounds ironic, but it's true. When we share our dreams too early, especially with those who don't understand us or don't believe in them, we often face skepticism instead of support. When met with questions like, "Can you really pull that off? Isn't that a bit too ambitious? Who still dreams like that these days?" And the worst part is, if you hear those questions enough, you begin to question yourself. External doubt becomes a slow-burning fire that weakens your inner belief. It doesn't explode, doesn't shout, but it quietly kills the determination you once held tightly. And when belief wavers, every step feels heavier. Not only that, but announcing your goals too soon places you in a whirlwind of unnecessary pressure. When others know you're chasing something big, they begin to expect. Every delay feels like a disappointment. Every detour feels like a betrayal to your dream. Suddenly, instead of freely adjusting, learning, and evolving, you're shackled by your own public promise. And what's more tragic than letting unfamiliar eyes dictate the course of your journey? The wise don't need to say much. They don't stand before the crowd declaring, "I will change the world," or "I'll become a millionaire," or "I'm building an empire." Instead, they work quietly, persistently, step by step. They know that results echo louder than words. When you succeed, the world will notice. And if you fail, no one will mock you because you never boasted. That's not hiding. That's a smart strategy to protect your fragile flame of ambition before it's strong enough to withstand the storm. Not everything needs to be declared. A seed nurtured in silence will root deeper, grow stronger. Only when it's ready will it rise above the soil, embrace the sunlight, and face the wind and rain. Your dreams are the same. Don't rush to bring them into the light while they're still fragile. Nurture them with quiet action, with every real step forward, not with noise. And when it's time to share, choose the right people. Not everyone is kind enough to understand you, nor wise enough to offer meaningful guidance. Speak only to those who truly want to see you succeed. Mentors, soul friends, or those who walk the path and can help light the way. They won't just motivate you, they'll shield you from needless distractions. But most of the time, your dream should stay with you. Turn it into the energy that wakes you up earlier, makes you work harder, learn deeper. Let it be the reason you don't quit, even if no one else knows what you're fighting for. That feeling is powerful when you know exactly where you're going and no one can interrupt your path. That is pure focus, undiluted energy. And one day, when you finally achieve the thing you've been chasing in silence, you won't need to shout, "I made it." Your results will speak for themselves. People will look at what you've built, your business, your product, your impact, your legacy, and they'll be the ones whispering the story. They'll ask, "How did no one know he was doing all this?" And you'll just smile, because you know you protected your dream, nurtured it the right way, and never let anyone or anything destroy it before it was ready. Remember, silence is not weakness. Sometimes, silence is the mark of relentless inner strength. Those who go the farthest aren't the ones who speak the loudest. They're the ones who walk the steadiest, even when no one's cheering. So if you're holding a big dream in your heart, protect it. Shield it like a candle in the wind. Don't let anyone blow it out with their doubts. Don't let anyone's gaze dictate your pace. Move quietly, fight silently, and one day, you'll become living proof of the power of silent perseverance. A dream nurtured in darkness, blossoming brilliantly when it's finally ready to meet the light of the world. In an era where everyone is racing to share their personal lives on social media, choosing to keep your private life and relationships to yourself has become an act of both courage and wisdom. We live in a flood of romantic photos, sweet captions, and half-confessional, half-showy posts where love is turned into a stage and relationships into a performance. But what lies behind that spotlight? Unsolicited opinions, intrusive comments, and invisible interference from strangers. People who don't live your life but somehow feel entitled to control how you love, how you live, and who you choose to walk beside. When you share too much about your private matters, you unknowingly invite others into the most fragile spaces of your life. Spaces that should belong only to two hearts trying to understand and build with each other. And the more eyes watching, the more vulnerable your relationship becomes. Couples begin to listen to the world instead of each other. They focus less on real emotions and more on staging the perfect romantic photo. And when problems arise, instead of having honest conversations, they turn to the internet, hoping for support from the crowd. But the crowd doesn't know what your heart truly needs. They only see what you expose, and they judge based on that. They don't witness your 2 a.m. talks, your silent forgiveness, the times you held hands when there was nothing left but faith. They don't understand the depth. They only react to the surface. And that's why the more you share, the easier it is to lose the truth of the relationship. True love doesn't need validation through likes or comments. It doesn't need a performance, and it doesn't seek approval. It only needs two people, honest and committed, quietly walking together through time. The wise protect their relationships like one would safeguard treasure. Not because they have something to hide, but because they understand that some things are so sacred, they don't need to be proven to anyone. They are selective about who they confide in. Not everyone deserves to know their private matters. Only those who've truly walked alongside them, who are trustworthy and love unconditionally, are allowed into the deepest chambers of their heart. They are not obsessed with sharing to prove. They live in an inner clarity that what is private is a form of self-respect, not secrecy. They understand that keeping something private is not about fear, it's about strength. The strength to choose silence over exposure. The strength to know what to say and what to keep. And more than that, the strength to shield what matters from unnecessary depletion caused by public scrutiny. Because not everything needs an audience. Not every moment deserves a camera. Sometimes, the most meaningful things happen quietly. A shared glance in a crowd, a hug after a long day, a small but heartfelt apology. None of these need to be public to have value. In fact, it is their privacy that makes them profound. That private space allows two souls to be their truest selves without fear of judgment, where love is nurtured by sincerity rather than the pressure of perfection. If you love someone, if you're building a meaningful relationship, be brave enough to keep it to yourself. Not to hide it, but to protect it. Not out of fear of losing it, but to preserve its authenticity. You have the right to share, but only when you know the person listening is worthy, deep enough to understand rather than curious enough to gossip. Privacy is the medicine that allows a relationship to mature. It gives you, in your partner's space, to explore one another naturally, without being shaped by social media standards. It allows you to try, fail, adjust, grow, and love in your own way. And you know what? Sometimes, it's that very privacy that nurtures lasting connection. When you no longer need to prove your love, you focus on truly loving. When you're not chasing external approval, you hear your inner emotions more clearly. And when you're strong enough to protect what's sacred in silence, that's when you truly live with respect for yourself and the person you love. Remember, courage isn't just about speaking up. It's also about staying silent when needed. Not everyone has the strength to protect what's precious through quiet resilience. But those who are truly mature understand this. Depth never lies in what is flaunted. It lies in how we choose to hold, to share, and to protect. Be brave enough to safeguard what matters. Because when you know what deserves to be kept, you begin to live more deeply, more truthfully, and connect not through appearances, but through an honest, open heart. If this message stirred something in you, it's because deep down, some things are worth protecting in silence. Like your motivation, your relationship, your peace. Keanu Reeves reminds us that real strength isn't loud. It's quiet, focused, and deeply personal. So before you post, ask yourself, does this moment need an audience? If not, keep it close. Let your life grow in private until it's powerful enough to speak for itself. If you found value in this, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs this reminder. Protect what matters. Speak less. Live more with intention.